They want to. Oh, are you gonna send Daniel a link, or is it do you use?
Let's go ahead and send Daniel that new link, guys.
Are we on already?
We are on. We are live, ladies and
Shut
gentlemen.
up.
Yo, what up? Al Red Dog, Art Liner. Got some early birds in the building.
Shut the fuck up. Are we on?
Yeah, we are.
Yo, yo, yo. We are in the building. Welcome back,
going
Zero.
on, familia?
Yo, it was cool. Canada was cool. I got to fulfill a childhood dream that I had, growing up. That place still existed. I got to visit the Amsterdam Cafe, which was dope.
Nice.
That was fun. It was cool. Me, Daniel, and my one of my tour managers, Beto from Chusma. Shout out to Beto from Chusma. He just joined. He just joined the team, so he's been he assisted with this time around, and everything went really smooth out there at the Turtle Island Fest in Vancouver, BC, British Columbia. Shout out to Dakota Bear. Shout out to Landback Records. Thank you for inviting me and doing your best to accommodate my needs while I went out there. You gave me a good set time. I played around 7 o'clock, and we got a good response. I saw some people that I saw the first time I went up there earlier this year, and it was pretty exciting. It was cool to be able to play on that kind of a stage and that kind of an event where it's all revolving around Native artists. Maybe not necessarily Native culture per se. Like, not everybody was about that. Some people were, just rocks, like a rock band or some shit. But nevertheless, most of maybe 60% of the artists were hip hop artists, and they were speaking about the culture. And I was able to share our wisdom coming from, further south. We went to the northern territories of Turtle Island, and it was a unique energy because there's a lot of trees out there, and Vancouver is in a at least they told me that it's in a rainforest. So the weather's always cloudy and it's kind of moist, and all the trees kind of have moss on them. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. But when I was in the city and I was around the trees, I kind of felt, I came back with like a message, like, I don't know, it just felt like we can't forget the healers that are these massive trees. Maybe they don't heal us like a doctor would, but they take energy, they ground us, they give us information about how life is beautiful, by just admiring their beauty and their strength and their roots. And I have another story, when Daniel jumps in,
I'm
about
here, brother. Can you hear me?
we're able to go to a panel of strong women, and they had a lot of voice. So there's lots of things to talk about. I want to say hi to Daniel, though.
What's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Daniel, yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
What's
All
up?
right, on. Yeah, man. I follow up on that, boy. What a great trip, Ruben, man.
Yeah.
And thank you to Dakota Bear, man, and all his clan.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is that, like we've said it, man. When you meet natives, it's amazing. It's a different. It's like you see them, and it's like, man, they're happy to see you. I mean, even when the homie picked us up from the airport, Uncle P.
Yeah.
Oh
Shout
man.
out Patrick.
Oh man, it just Patrick, and like I was just so. But yeah, I think I just have a lot overwhelmed by the love of the northern tribe of Turtle Island spirit in the north. And I mean, I don't know, Ruben, your set was fire, brother. I think Amando just saying, "Oh man, everything's lit," like the performance was amazing.
Well, thanks a lot, Mondo, for coming through with the visuals. I mean, that just
Yeah,
made it
thanks, Mondo. Oh man, his spirit was there with us.
absolutely.
Yo, but you manifested this since day one, since the podcast started, bro. You always had a connection with Canada. You've been out to Canada before.
Yeah.
But this time around, we were like, look, we need to link up with the best of the underground over there. You know what I'm saying? That are spinning true indigenous shit.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Dakota Bear walked into our office and sat down here and did a podcast interview with us.
Right.
And then we did his first LA show.
Right. Absolutely.
It's crazy how that works, right, Zero?
As we were talking to Dreezus and all that stuff, with whatever conflicts he had, because we had scheduled Dreezus first,
Yes, I think so.
but then he had to cancel because of sickness. So Dakota Bear filled in, and has made it. It's cool to see him grow in his.
Was Jesus there?
No, not this year.
Okay.
He was there the year before, and so this year it was Dakota Bear headlining, and it was pretty fun. It was a fun event, and it was a powerful event because you see the individuals doing their best across a border. Our ancestral lands here, and then they complain about our parents crossing their border, but over there it's like they're in. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to kind of have that struggle go that far up. You know, and another cool thing about Canada and the natives from Canada is that they're kind of the last ones to be conquered. You know, they were like so far up that they're barely getting into all the bureaucracy of being under colonial rule.
You think so?
Well, I mean, not anytime, like not 50 years from, but like I'm just talking about the last of the last. You know, right here we're like we've been
They already ran through these lands compared to like
we were challenged. I don't want to call it conquered anymore. I want to call it challenged. You know, we were challenged long before them.
But they did find dozens of churches just recently that less than 100 years ago, they were killing these kids,
And that
at
goes
these
in-
schools.
and that leads into a story,
right?
that
And
we-
that's shocking. But
You
yet,
want me to go over here, Ruben?
yeah, go for it.
So check it out, Mondo. And this is I really got to thank them, man. And this goes out to also Dakota's partner, Casey. You know, and I remember I want to say Rihanna, who was a few of these women. Man, they're actually the grandmothers and the aunties. But they put on a forum that was going on before the festival was going on, and I feel so blessed that they invited us to this forum, and it was a forum where the natives were they were coming up with concepts and ideas. But Mondo, what you just said, kind of interesting because we were watching this forum and they were talking about land back and the process and the asking the right questions and it's an interesting forum. The first it was a 2-part forum and they were gonna have a movie in the middle, and we were sitting up in the chairs, and this native brother was right in front of us, and he looked at Ruben and myself and he goes, "Hey, you guys aren't from around here, are you?" And I was like, "No, we're not from around here." And he's, "Oh, this is Zero, man. He's from East LA." We started talking, "Okay, my name's Curtis. It's, hey, what are you doing here, Curtis?" He says, "Oh, well, I'm here. My sister's part of the next forum." Okay. And he introduced, "Oh, his sister right here, Jill." Okay, so we met her. Man, first she had a sense about her, but, and I was telling Ruben, man, something about this woman. And what I realized after the fact is she reminded me of my mother, but anyways, it's on the side. She ended up being part of the second forum, and that's what they were talking about. They were talking about land back and land issues, but she said, I'm going to give credit to my brother. And she talked about her brother and the work that he was doing. And the work that he's doing is that he's out there with the LiDAR, I guess, the radar, and they're showing pictures that they're recovering those bodies, Mondo, that they're actually places where they just left the bodies there so that everyone else could use them as an example. ¿Tú crees? Like, think about these are our seeds. And it was really heavy, man. I mean, the many stories that this woman told, it just got me. And then she said, this is what was wild, because the whole premise was how we're the supreme law of this land. And it was just beautiful the way she said it, and she said too, we never ceded or surrendered any treaties, nothing. Man, that was powerful to hear that. Yeah, it's true. We never ceded or surrendered anything. And so, but as the story goes, what her brother did, they find all the bodies. And you want to know what helped them find the bodies? All the bodies were cradled by the roots of the trees. The trees had cradled the bodies. And so when they went to find them, they could see they were cradled by the roots of the trees. And so clearly the earth had taken back what these animals had taken from us. And so the wild thing about this is that these are people telling a story about going after their cousins and their aunts and their grandparents. We think of that story and we think, man, that's really sad. It hurts our heart, but these are actually their relatives. And it's just, it's a very heavy thing, because what did they do to get this done to them? Is they welcomed everybody in, and they're just the kindest individual. And they talked too about times of war. They had times of war and how they were just very, very civil people, and like their war had passed.
From what I heard,
I have her on. I recorded it on video. Could we play that on this?
I think so. But
Oh, dude,
from what I heard, it's the ones that were,
tried to run away.
persistent on not getting converted. They were just like, nah.
Yeah, they wanted to go back to their homelands because they would take them from far, far away. It
Wasn't
wasn't.
they would shoot them, as they were running away.
Yeah, and leave them there. Right,
Yeah.
leave them there so that everyone could see, like, oh, that's what happens if you try to run away, or if you're rebellious, or any of that. But I think that's what really gave me the profound realization about how important trees are to us. Because,
Oh, you have to turn on your Bluetooth.
okay,
Let me unpair mine.
all we have to do is understand that that tree reacted to that dead body, that child. So
To a seed, Ruben. You're
it's
one of our seeds.
right. It's giving its love or whatever it was, that connection, right? And that made me think really, really deeply when I was there around these very big trees. Even though we were in the city, there was very big trees around. Like they didn't cut certain trees.
Right. We're in a rainforest.
So you could tell
Exactly.
these trees are there for hundreds, if not
At
thousands of
least
years.
200-year-old
Hey,
trees.
Mondo, flying in on the airplane, man, it was amazing to see all the forest. It was a city and a forest. It's amazing. It's a beautiful city.
Everything. Every time I think of Canada, I think of this fool, Justin Trudeau,
Yeah.
Not headset. What do I
the
look
fucking
for?
president.
Yeah.
Like
They
these
talk
fools are
about
all
it too,
fucking
man. They
lizard
talk
men,
about it
dude.
too.
These fools are all lizard people, bro.
I mean,
Reptilians.
it's interesting to see how it works up there because everything is really expensive. Like I bought an orange juice, like those 16-ounce orange juice, and I think it was a pack of gum. It was almost $8.
Sheesh.
I was like, what the fuck, $8? Like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not cheap, but $8 for 2 items?
Yeah, it should be like more around 5, right?
Yeah, $5, $6, whatever.
Hey, but you know what's interesting is that Homegirl broke down that part of the problem there, and I didn't think about it. She said the problem is there's 4 jurisdictions simultaneously going on here. It's like, damn. And that's why I think they're different because they're run by the queen. Think about it, man. We're run by just an evil ass government, but they're run by the queen, who we always say is evil or not, but it's just different the way the queen deals with her subjects, and so it's a very interesting, different situation there because not only that, right now it's interesting. A lot of them, when they meet natives off the bat, they apologize, because it's kind of like the whole nation knows that this is.
Of course. No, they're gonna apologize all day, Zero, right? Like just
Oh,
on the
it's
camera,
it's
on the
crazy. It's almost
press.
like unhealthy, but I mean, it's just that's. But the
That's
crazy thing, the
great.
U.S. did the same thing, Mondo, and people ain't even flinching nothing, man. It's
And
like,
the elites, all they want, yeah, apologize. Go ahead.
right?
Yep.
That's not,
I'm doing
it's
the
not
test.
coming.
Get it?
Go ahead.
It says connected.
Play.
Will we step in as a colonizer
Turn up your phone.
for lands? What does land back really mean in terms of deprogramming? And I know the word is decolonizing.
All right, so let's start here. So, what was her name, Daniel?
Jill McAdams, I think it was.
Jill McAdams, and she's from Saskatchewan, Treaty
She's a
6
lawyer. She
territory.
represents the tribe.
Right, and she's from Saskatchewan. She's from Treaty 6. She's very, 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 very strong. And I wanted the audience of LA natives to hear such a strong woman speak. I think this is a measure that we all should try to achieve, because she speaks with like so much confidence and wisdom. But hopefully we'll get the message.
We're seeing that already, our own people buying into the narrative that there'll be no existence of an economy without it. Will we step in as a colonizer to exploit the lands? What does land back really mean in terms of deprogramming? And I know the word is decolonizing. I prefer the word deprogramming. Deprogramming how we see the land and unsettling the settler within. Taking a deep dive into patriarchy, into misogyny, sexism, bigotry, and for the settlers, racism. This system would not function so well the way that it is without our contribution to it. And it's moving very well because people buy into the idea that we need it. So I think the first steps toward it is to begin unpacking those narratives that exist within us that have been taught to us in the education systems. These education systems produce obedient servants of the crown. All of our children come out of these systems performing whiteness. Even for me to sit here and speak in this language, I'm performing whiteness.
Wow.
And that's the work from Dr. Sheila McLean, and you can go and research it. You are going to be taught this information in the education systems. I had to teach myself with the support of incredible scholars that are doing this work. So to deprogram, what is that going to look like? We need to challenge how women are viewed in these systems, the violence. And I'm researching that right now. And I speak to my own brothers at our tables, and we need to begin there. You'd be surprised what you will find. You'd be surprised what they harbor in the dark corners of the settler within. It's really scary, the conversations that come up at your own dinner tables. So I suggest to you to begin there and inform yourselves, educate yourselves, because no one else is going to do it for you. What's white privilege? What is it? What is the dehumanization and domination language that we are taught, where we're labeling ourselves as activists and environmentalists? What is that? So that's the deprogramming that I hope that I'll leave within your minds. Thank you.
Wow. That was like heavy, because she's asking you to look inside your own family. That, like, we're telling people, oh, the whites, they're settlers, look at the settlers, but they're not looking at the settlers that are sitting down right at the table with them because they bought into the system or they bought into this colonial understanding. Now, she was talking about the queen and the crown because, like you said, they're not under the United States. You know, this is not that wasn't the United States. That was, you know, England. England owns Canada. And so, or that's the colony, right?
Yeah, well, they treat them differently. It's a different. Those are subjects, not citizens.
Right.
It's interesting, But again, like she said in another conversation, there's 4 jurisdictions going on there, and so they're dealing with a lot there. But she was just such a powerful individual, And another thing, the many things she shared. But do you remember the story she did? I really liked it about the.
I think I have it. Hold on.
But back in the day when they talked about the Blackfoot, remember how they
Yeah.
said that you
I
would
think
leave?
I have it. Hold
That
on.
was really cool, and I think, Ruben, it was interesting to me, just like us as Mexica.
Do to protect their territories pre-contact.
Yeah, this is it.
Well, I wrote a book called Nationhood Interrupted, and there's one story there that really resonates. Back in the day before the white people stepped on our lands, for the Nihilwa, that's the nation I come from, Nihilwa. But the white people, they call us Crees. So when the Blackfoot or other nations were going to cross our territory, they would come to our boundary. And when they arrive at our boundary, they would take a pole with kinnikinnick. Kinnikinnick are sacred tobacco, and they would tie it to the top of that stick or pole, and they would put it into the ground, and they would step away and go camp somewhere. And if they come back and that kinnikinnick is gone, they have permission to cross our lands. That was part of the land defending. And also, I have a story. My dad always said, share a story. Story resonates. And I want to share a history, and I'll try to make it quick. we always battled with the Blackfoot. The Anishinaabe and the Nihio got together. My Mushroom was about 8 or 9, and his dad told him, "You're coming with me, Estam, Ukawitiwin." So he went along with his dad, and these histories are so specific that I heard my Mushroom say his Tapan, his grandmother that time, made 12 moccasins for my Mushroom to carry to get him to the battle and back. They were going to go fight the Blackfoot. So they got on their horses. My grandfather, my Mushroom, went with his dad, and they left with the Anishinaabe, our allies. And my mother is Anishinaabe. And they rode off to what is now known as North Battleford, but in the language, Notuntosi. And they got there, and it's a long story, but I'll make it short. They battled, we battled the Blackfoot, and history will say we won. And when the men came back, the women raised up their lodges, and they said, "No more, no more. It was death, lives were taken, that's unacceptable." I don't know who reached out to who, but in the women's lodges, decisions were made and songs were sung, and the women invoked their most sacred jurisdictions. So we met with the Blackfoot in what is now known as Medicine Hat, Maskihiwastupin. And when we sat down with the Blackfoot, the leading men and the leading women brought forward their children, and we exchanged children with our enemy. Do you know why? Because you don't make war on your child. We made a peace and kinship treaty with the Blackfoot. Can you imagine the kind of love that women had for peace and law to do that? And which women they decided in the women's lodges would give up their child? That's our land defense. That's our peacemaking. And that treaty did not create peace for one day. It's a generational treaty that I still carry and remember, and we uphold it. And my grandfather, who was 8 or 9 at the time when he witnessed the battle unfolding, went with his dad so that he could look after the horses. And he stood on a high hill watching the battle unfold. So that's our land defense, that's our treaty. And it was the women.
Wow. Did you hear how they mended or what the treaty was with the Blackfoot? Was they had to exchange children
Yeah.
to end the war. Like
And it was women who made that decision. There's no women today in all the war shit. There ain't, and so it's just a profound difference.
and then what woman was gonna give up their kid?
Yeah, that's heavy, man. I mean,
That's
that forum changed my life, Ruben. Man, it was just a beautiful thing, though.
that lady and her stories were incredibly powerful.
And obviously, this wasn't that long ago, right?
No,
No. I like the way they exchanged, or not exchanged, but the way they gave permission to enter lands. You know what I mean by having to wait a couple days and seeing if the pole has the tobacco still on it.
it's civility, Ruben.
Right.
Being civil.
It's a respectful thing, because what if something's happening in the village, or the men are gone, or whatever the case may be? It's not taken personal because it's not received, like the invite isn't received. It's
You know
more
what?
respect.
And it's interesting, Ruben. One thing I have to say too about that whole interaction, the whole time we were there, I never ever felt any type of negative vibe from not a single native that we were with or around at all, ever. I kind of tripped out off of that the whole time. There was nobody like no negative vibes whatsoever. It was just
Obviously, the vibes of like, oh, who are these Mexicans right here doing right here, right?
didn't exist, brother. It was a trip because they were native. That's what I'm saying. It's a difference when natives see natives, man. It's like when we see natives, it fills our heart. And they were so warm to us. I mean, oh my goodness. I remember one of the homies, and I really liked him, but I want to say, was it Pism?
Yeah.
Dude, this kid was a young, I mean, and straight up Weddle, just a straight up Weddle, but that kid was smooth as shit, man. And I just thought, man, this guy, and it was funny to me because I don't know why. It made me think when I was a little boy, it's kind of funny, but always little nerdy kids were good to me, man. Were always nice to me. And I just think, I always remember that, and it's like, I don't know, and it just anyways, this guy was smooth, man. It was cool because he was with all the aunties and the grandmothers, and you could see he had respect, man. They were telling him and changing his mind, like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Oh, I just got auntied." It was just hilarious. But the thing is, the truth be told, man, just a well spoken, well presented, young warrior. And I thought the guy was like 16 or 17. I was like, oh, he's like 32. Like, Jesus. Everybody there, man, they're just like they look like so healthy and happy, just wealthy, I guess, with health. You ask them how old they are, man, you think this dude's like maybe 26, 20. Well, I'm saying young, and they're like in their 40s and 50s. Just the way they're living is very yeah, it's nice, man. People were on a good. It's just,
By chance, did you guys run into Raza?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I did. After the show, they were like, man, we work up here and there's nothing that caters to us here. And so we're here at the park because they weren't like, I'm sure they didn't get there because they knew it was land back. It was just at an open, kind of like on an open beach. Like if you were walking on the beach, you would see it and you'd probably just check it out. And so we got like maybe 5 or 6 people from Mexico who actually Spanish speaking. And I did Global Pandemic, and I wasn't going to do the Spanish part because I didn't know if anybody was going to understand it. But I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And it ended up being that there was like maybe 5 or 6 full Mexican people there. And they were just like, receiving it, receiving the message way up there. It's
and,
far. It's
and
far.
Ruben, remember at the merch table, the first homie that bought a shirt was Raza, and it was like what? And the thing is, he bought the shirt, and before he could put it on, his son showed up, and his son copped the shirt that he picked up. So he said, "Hey, you know what? Could you give me another shirt?" And so the guy bought the first shirt, and then he bought the second. And it was funny because we didn't have a bunch of double X's there. It was bam, bam, bam. It was like, oh man. So it was really. And I said, homie, man, the first shirt's the sacred shirt. The first sale. And it was just like he was just moved. And we had such good conversations because people began to ask, "Hey, what's that symbol mean? What's the turtle?" And so it was really. Ah man, it just fed our souls, man. I mean, and just
That was the cool thing is that we were able to share our wisdom from so far down south in the most, the closest northern territories because it's not Alaska. There's still some way up. You know what I mean? You got Edmonton, Calgary, West Coast cities that still go up. But it was amazing, powerful for us to bring the Ometoshli after my set and kind of present it to all the crowd, and then Daniel breaking down what it was, right? The Metzli, the ombligo, the people from the ombligo.
and they're hungry, man. It was nice. I mean, the thing is too, it's nice there is that kind of notice that people there, and it's a beautiful thing. They'll say, okay, they'll either say it in their native language or they'll say it in English and then tell them in their native language, tell them what it means. And so it's amazing. Like, and so it worked for us to say, okay, this is the rabbit, and we tell them what it means. And it's like the form there. It's like the people were returning to our language. So let me share it with you. This is what this means, because sometimes you hear a homie and he's breaking out the language. It sounds dope. You don't know what the hell the homie's saying. It'd be dope. And I was telling Ruben, man, it's like when you find those little words and we could recite those, the ancestors hear it and the ancestors know because they know the language. It's just all the modern English, the ancestors don't understand that. They're like, what are these guys saying? I'm sure, and so it's just an interesting thing to begin to touch like the verbal presence of our language and how we are the land. We're an extension of the land. And it's like, man, again, too, that there was a short film that this young woman had that was amazing too. It was, I think it was called Grandmother the Inlet, and it was moving, man, just amazing.
It was just powerful for me to be you know, that understanding, right? Practicing them as best as I can to the ancestors' ways and understanding some of the symbols. And to bring that Ometoshli onto the stage and have you break it down and like we represent this symbol that comes from way down south,
Right, right.
right? And we're now in your territories.
And Ruben, it was so nice too to keep hearing Turtle Island, Turtle, and then when, Dakota kept saying, it's the whole island, and it's like, man, it's timeless and it's true, and it's like the turtle itself too that they used as a symbol was amazing, just like ours, 13 scales, and I was saying, they didn't realize, but that like turtles right there in the middle of the Tonal Machotl, and it's like such a beautiful concept, and boy, just that place, you could see the people were an extension of the land. That was just such a special thing.
But I want to go back to the trees. I want to see if I have the clip where she explains about the trees. The
Bro,
children.
I just like the
Will we
fact.
step in as a colonizer to exploit the lands?
The history of land defense and land relationship.
I don't think I recorded that one, but
Yo, like when they say the white man, like that's fucking powerful right there, dude. Like the way it's not even anger. It's just like, what the fuck?
Right. Oh my God, you're right, Mondo. It's just stating it the way it
I'm
is.
glad you saw that.
Right?
It's not I hate you.
Right.
It's the truth. You imposed your language into our society.
Coincidentally, you guys are of that skin complexion,
Right.
the
Yes.
blue eyes.
That's who imposed that.
But when white Canadians hear that, they're appalled.
Well, see, the whites over there, they're kind of different. They're not like, well, I'm sure that there's some bigots and some people that don't like.
But I would see big similarities between those white people and the white people here in the U.S., right? I don't know.
No.
It's different, brother. It's different, and it's
Like
just a
we
trip.
had I was sitting by the beach and this white dude comes up and he goes, "What do you think about like language and this and that?" And almost apologetic, like I'm sorry that your people had to go through this. Like almost everywhere you turned, there was that.
He's right. He's right. It was a trip.
And so I kept telling him like, dude, that's over. Like, let's move on. Like, you are who you are, and I am who I am. And
But did he know you were Mexican?
I don't know. He didn't ask. He didn't ask. And I think we're starting to transcend at least when we travel with Daniel and we travel with whoever we travel with. There's no need to ask what we are. You know what I mean? Because we don't fall into those colonial labels. What we are is what we practice. We practice our indigenous ways the best way we can. We represent ourselves through our clothing and symbols and regalia and the plugs, the necklaces, whatever it is. People innately see. There's no need to prove because you are if you try to practice. That's just the main thing, Of course, we would love to have that reassurance, that paperwork, that grandfather, that grandmother. But then go back to the way the lady was talking. She was saying, this was not a gentle transition. You forced your language into our way of life. So now I have to turn around and decipher what land back means and label myself a colonial word called activist or protester, whatever you want to call it, still using their words. I was talking to Sky about it at the shop. It's like we're looking for the answers to colonialism by being colonial, right? That's what she's saying. How do you want me to answer land back when one, I'm speaking English, two, I'm trying to follow this colonial structure, right? And I was talking to Daniel about this. I go, Daniel, the one thing I think she was saying is, How come we're not outside?
Yeah, right.
How come we're not outside? How come we're not on the earth? How come we don't have our elder, the trees, and our elder, the birds, and our elder, the insects, advising our energy to change the situation? That's far beyond an activist. That's someone connecting to the source that gives us life.
Right, right.
Instead of intellectually discussing, it was just, we were in a theater, we were on a panel. The panelists were given certain amounts of time to respond. Like it almost was like school. And yet we're going, but land back. Remember all this structure? That's just for show. We really mean land back. And I felt like that lady said, look, I'm going to answer this as politely as I can, being in a theater, given this structure and panel and way of answering. But I felt like deep in my heart that she said, why are we inside? And why aren't the trees behind us? Why ain't the animal and the energy of the forest with us? I think that's the way we need to move forward. And some people may criticize me and go, oh, that sounds really hippie, but that means you're not connected. And I don't connect in that way. I connect in a way which I explained to this individual who asked me about communication. Communication is not words. Communication is hormones that you feel. And that makes you alert about what's happening around you. It's a simple, basic, primitive communication that you got from your mom to the fetus. Because the way they treated her is the way you felt. And it was training you how the environment around is going to be. Communication is the way you can articulate yourself and make a person feel. That's important to understand. So when she said, I'm speaking English, right? She could have easily communicated the same message sitting outside, maybe saying 2 or 3 words, pointing at a bird, maybe saying another 4 or 3 words, using the water as an example. Say another thing and look at the insects pass by, and that's another example. It's not hippie.
So this white dude that went up to you guys, was he genuinely concerned and he was curious on like knowing some history?
Yeah.
Hey,
He was.
Mondo. I remember the guy's name too. His name was Graham. And he was a trip, man. You know what it is, brother? I looked at him and I got a sense from him when we were at the table. And I don't know, it's me because I grew up with widows, man. But you could tell when they're not mad or angry. They're just inquisitive, and they're kind of like, because if you think about it, man, in their DNA is telling them that we're bad. You know, they're raised to be that we're bad without even knowing us. But something inside of them is dissonant. They experience dissonance. Like something inside of them says, "Nah, man, I'm gonna something," you know. And so, the homie ended up being, because I ended up giving him some information. He goes, "Damn, dude, you got a lot of knowledge." I was like, "No, brother, you just asked me a question. I just answered your question, you know." But it's just that I think that they're used to us, and that's the thing. What Ruben was saying, him and I were together, dude. We trip people out, and I've known this guy so long. We do it. I mean, it's not that we do it, but people look at him and they just say the weirdest shit, you know, like. And I'm sitting there with him, and it's just like, oh man, you know. But we're love, and every time I'm with Boo, I never feel in danger or anything, you know. And it's just we're very. I mean, I love the homie, and we're just in a good mood, and he just really people approach him and just say things to him, and I just, I just get a kick out of it. But they approach us, man, and people don't feel, but again, dude, if you get out of the colonized mind, oh, the world's amazing because
Right.
everybody has a little something to teach if you allow them their space, and like even somebody who comes to us with kind of a whack view, once we start talking, it kind of throws them off a little bit because we're not fulfilling that pre view of what they think we are, and so especially me when I start to talk, oh, people will just get fucked up because my voice is I sound like the English, So, but again, dude, it's just people, our hearts are good, and I think in that place, a lot of people's hearts are good, and it was just amazing to me. Like, wow, it just like it pulls in
I
people.
think it has a lot to do with the trees.
I agree, Ruben. I agree. I'm with you on that. But you got to go to understand it because we live around trees. It's not the same.
Yeah. No, this was like an energy of
Yes, yes.
like it almost like felt like when you see the other energy of the people around you. I'm not saying everybody was perfect or anything like that, but
No, you're not saying that. No.
there's a lot of energy of like peace. There's a peace up there that's just maybe people don't see it, but I felt it. It was totally different from where I come from.
Hey, Ruben, didn't you notice? I noticed all the people with dogs. Everyone had dogs. Like I was like, damn. Like, and people with dogs like are just very like it's happy. An animal fulfills your life, and it's like I kind of tripped out off of that, but in a good way because man, I miss my dog. So I'd be like, just seeing all these dogs it just warmed my heart. And it's man, it just was such a nice. I mean, a wild beach community, and I would tell them I went to Sunset Beach, like, oh, they're naming all these places. No, Vancouver,
Mhm.
and that sunset was amazing.
Right. I mean, just being around this energy of life, right? All that water, all that moisture in the air. There's a lot of energy there, and I just noticed that it penetrated the whole all the people that live there. It penetrated me. It penetrated Daniel. I mean, and Beto, who came with us.
Right, man. And
It was a lesson, and then that story where this is why I'm saying this because the story that the lawyer said, Auntie Jill, how the roots cradled the children that were murdered. You can't tell me that they're not communicating with the people that live there. What are the roots doing underneath the city, man? The city's probably full of roots of these very old trees. What kind of energies are up there? Now it's very kind of double-edged sword because it could be very gloomy too because you're not seeing the sun. At least me, I come from Southern California. I see the sun almost every day. And then I go up there and it's kind of gloomy. And then the next day is gloomy. And then the sun comes out for a fucking 10 minutes and then it's gloomy again. And I could see that. That's why I feel like the energy of the trees have to bring that energy up. Like, keep it in a space where life is beautiful. Because then you turn around and you see so much beauty everywhere. I mean, just walking down the street was amazing, right, Daniel?
yeah, no, but Ruben, think about something, and this is what trips me out. Bro, the world is on fire right now. Okay, the world is on fire, literally.
Mm.
This place is fucking like it's not on fire, and like in the world, people are gonna want to go places where it's not on fire, and so it's just amazing how the trees are a big part of that.
Yeah.
Because up there, the trees, and that's the thing too. That the short that young woman was about was called grandmother inlet. And so the story was how the inlet represented grandmother, and so she talked about how her great grandfather was taken away by the schools, and had to cut their hair, took him away. And when he was old enough, like 15, 16, he came back to the inlet looking for his longhouse because he was born in the longhouse, and he couldn't find his longhouse. And they said, finally his mother came out of a house and said, hey, we live here now. This is where we live. It was like, wow. And I tripped out because I don't know if you remember, I commented, I said, man, that's kind of wild because it sounds like the salmon that comes back to where he's from. And they know where they're from. And this salmon, young man, coming back, looking to where he's from, and he can't find where he's from. And it's just a crazy.
Because the longhouse isn't there anymore.
Right. And it's just, dude, I mean, and people think of humans and separate us from the land. Up there, they're telling you, no, we're the same. We're the same. And it makes sense. Not only the land, they're also the law of the land. And that's why Ruben is felt good. The power of all the women, the grandmothers there, and the aunties, man. There's women holding all the shit down up there. You
Very
sense
true.
that.
Very
You
true.
sense that power. Okay, you sense that power, and it's like, and it's just interesting because also too, and sad to say, they also talked about what women are going through. That when they're murdering Native American women, they're murdering our women, and they're not just murdering them. They're just cutting them to pieces because it's like, man, it's just this hate that's inside of them, and it's just like, man, this is what we have to battle. And
Yeah.
it's this,
They were saying that the violence against Native women isn't just like murdering them. Like they take them apart. Like literally take them apart. And that's what she was saying. Like, how much hatred do you have for us that you have to take us apart? You know what I mean? That's
but they
another
can't beat us, Ruben, because even though they bury us, like they said, we're seeds. You know,
right.
and even nature cradles our seeds. And it's just amazing to me that we are so one with nature. You know, and
Right.
just how that whole place too. You know, and that's what Dakota kept saying, man. This is our environment. This is our place, and it was just amazing. Like I think too, I was really more hip to their lyrics and all the hip hop. They're really talking about a story that's just, man.
Well, the chat's going off, huh? What's going on over there? Anybody got anything to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was saying, my homie, I hadn't seen in a while. The Arturo Art.
Oh, no
So
way.
yeah, man, it's just good to be back on the podcast. Man, it feels like it's been a while, but man,
Yeah.
it's such a good trip. And a shout out to Beto, man, because the third party that was just interesting. You travel with homies, you get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a really good. Man, just a bright future, Zero. Yeah,
Right.
I too, though, brother, I was moved with your performance, and I was saying, leading up to the performance, all of your all the practices, and brother, I mean, I love Jose Feliciano, man. When you
Yeah.
say, oh, I was tripping out.
And saying that new track that I'm doing. So,
That just, is a lot different than Feliz Navidad.
right.
But
No,
that's
I
it.
guess what I was trying to point out in terms of Vancouver and the energy there, it's that, there's a lot of things, like I said, the murdered, missing women, and, you got the poverty from, the Native Americans from there. But if you can tap into the energy that the trees are giving, right? Sometimes we can ignore it. Sometimes we don't feel like it's doing anything. But I felt like since maybe because I have control of my diet and I'm high, I have a bit of a spiritual intention when I walk. I felt it right away. And then I turned around, I started seeing it in almost everybody around me. How intense that, the only ones that were really upset there were the people making money, right? Because
Mhm.
people were be, oh, you're delaying my money, the grumpy money people. But in terms of just like average Joe, they're pretty polite, super apologetic, and
Yeah, but Ruben, remember, this is what tripped me out, man. Like, if you're a foodie, oh, this is heaven. I mean,
oh yeah,
just a row of all kinds of like world cuisine. But here's the thing, this is what blew me away. They're all busy. They were all busy all the time. And it was like, wow, like the economy is booming there. It was
and
just
it's
like,
expensive. It's not cheap.
yes. And I was told that too, but it was just amazing to think. And you know what? Again, thank you, Ruben. And thanks to Coda, man, to help us, to give us the opportunity to travel to another country. Like I got my passport. Now I can go to the motherland.
Mhm.
It's just amazing sometimes when, and again, to Ruben, I want to thank you because you chasing your dreams and having me being part of your dream, like this is better than anything I could have dreamed of, your dream,
Yeah,
you know?
when it comes to that,
It's
it's
just,
like you know, I chase the sun, but I live my dream. You see, I chase the sun because it's the powerful entity that gives our dream reality, but I live my dream. I think that's how I find myself on those stages, and I find the right people to go with me across the border. It was all a learning experience. We've done this before. It wasn't like the first time we've done this. This is
right,
like
right.
we've done Mexico City. We've done, in the United States, we've gone to New Mexico, Arizona.
Yeah, but Ruben, it's different, man. It's different when everyone on board sees the vision,
Yeah,
when everyone sees the vision. And man, when everyone sees the vision, there's no like, hey, are people gonna be there on time? And hey, did you get my food? And it's like,
yeah, yeah.
and,
It was a
and,
very mature trip. It was something that we dealt with little bumps and bruises, but for the most
come
part,
on, dude. The thing is, man, have you ever? I don't think I've ever been somewhere where people say, describe this food that's just probably some of the best food: sockeye salmon, dried elk, like halibut, freshly cut, and just saying, and so, and by the way, could you eat it all? It's like, it's like that, but that's I swear, it's the natives. They fed everybody. They invited everybody, and they fed everybody, and
Last year we were treated very well.
no one said, "Hey, there's not enough." Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, can you imagine a world that we went through? Like, it's just music, good energy, good vibes, and free food. It was just, I don't know. I think a world like that, does a world like that exist? Well, it did there for a few days. And again, too, I'll say it again, a bunch of women were running that stuff. And then, but truth be told, Mizzy, all those homies, they all did a lot of work. Day, like all those dudes were working at the festival as well. And so, Dakota as well, they all have their, radios on and stuff. And it's, man, I give it up to those guys. It's just, they're putting the work in, and the work that they put in is basically when you go to a party, man. You go to the party, you're having such a good time, and you don't really realize the people that are putting on the party, and they're not really partying. They're supporting the party, and I think it's what it is. And I think is that just someone who puts on events is part of it. It's just amazing to see all the people and what they did to make us really give us an experience that just changed my life. Ruben. So I thank you again. It's just a life-changing experience. And man, if this is the beginning, oh man, this is gonna be amazing.
It literally is the beginning, because what I saw at that festival was a lot of youth
Yes.
between the ages of 11 to maybe 17, fired up about being native.
Hey, and that being said, the homie Tolilo, the Filipino homie,
Yeah.
man, that guy, dude. If you guys, Tolilo, look out for that guy, man. Just
He's supposed to be coming to Boyle Heights, so
yes, yeah. Hey, but that kid was all heart, man, and talented.
amazing.
Man, that really could touch my heart, man. And it was a group that was with us, and then Uncle P, man, Patrick just hooked us up,
Yeah, Patrick was very attentive of our needs, and shout out to Patrick. And again,
Remember, Ruben, it was like, I said, hey, man, I feel like we're going to a family picnic. You know what I mean? Like, we go down, and it's just, they would just say, I don't know. But again, too, I think part of it, too, and it's just maybe me, but I try to go into these situations with no expectation.
Mhm.
And, man, it just...
But the panel was powerful. That to have that woman,
amazing people, Ruben, amazing.
it just like, now I know why I have that. Again, just reiterating the connection between trees and humans, because when those trees felt those bodies land, like to kind of create a hand that kind of cradles that spirit. Where did it lead it? What did it tell that spirit, that beautiful little child that just wanted to be home?
Ruben, it's still hard for me to tell that story without getting teary, man. It just fucking...
Yeah. He just wanted to go home. That kid just wanted to go home. He wanted to be with his aunties.
Dude, it's just like, God, I just want to go home.
It's okay though. It's okay though. It's okay.
So Zero, like I remember when we brought out Dakota Bear, and he was telling us, like, remember he brought his family for his first LA show. Like,
Yeah.
that was the first time they ever came to LA.
Yeah.
So do you feel like there was a culture shock compared to where, his environment is, and then he just gets into the concrete jungle of East Los?
Jesus, like it's definitely night and day. I mean, it's definitely night and day. I mean, that's kind of like Vancouver's kind of like Glendale, where it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's clean, no drama, But although there is a very large section that's like maybe 3 times, I want to say 4 times bigger than Skid Row.
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
And that was like going through zombie. It looked like a movie set.
Don't look like San Francisco, Ruben.
Literally looked like a movie set.
So there was tents everywhere and just homeless people cracked out.
I mean,
Tent.
piles of trash like this big, like on the street, and swap meets happening at 1 a.m. You know what I mean? Like there's like people trying to sell shit on the floor at 1 a.m.
Hey, but they're claiming it's like a social experiment there, because on one day they give them food, and on the next day they give them medicine of some sort. And so it's kind of people are not really, what they're saying is they're not really have any reason to leave there. They've got everything right there in a small space. And so
Fucking crazy. You're right, bro. They don't really leave. It's kind of like a bunch of ants like piled up on each other. You know what I
getting
mean?
welfare and getting their drugs. They were saying it's man, it's kind of
Yeah, they get fed and then they get drugs. That's insane. It was just Yeah.
That was kind of
That right there was, and then see, so I'm saying, like, I have the feel the energy of the trees. Yes, it's peaceful. Yes, it's beautiful. Yes. But then you have that. Like, that's there. That amount of fentanyl and just, I remember somebody was telling me a story that they would come once a month,
right,
pick
right.
up bodies that died from overdoses. Once a month. That means that 4 weeks, sun, water, whatever, like once a month.
Yeah, but you and Ruben, I was gonna say one thing I really love is something that just for me was when Dakota and a few of the other guys had their kids on stage.
Mm.
And like I think one of Dakota's kids, man, was just spitting like mean, like pretty much, like his dad. And it just reminded me when you used to have the little boys on stage, man, and your son always would be out there without only one shoe on. Charlotte would be out there with one. I call him the one shoe MC.
Yeah.
I don't know why, dude. That kid would always go on with just one shoe on, man. Like he just kicked that shit off and said, "I'm time to go on stage." And so, and truth be told, I want to share this too, man. Your kids, I always talk about your kids, but man, you got a really great call from your son. You
Oh yeah.
know,
Yeah,
and
it was amazing to,
if you could share that, Ruben, because I
yeah.
think that's the type of stuff that, like,
You
to
know,
me, brother.
last time I was up in Canada, he gave me a call and he was having a hard time. But this time he called me and I was like, "Oh my God, it's repeating." And go, "What happened? What happened, son?" And he's all, "No, son, do you have time, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have time." He's all, "What's going on?" He's all, "Oh, I just wanted to call you because I'm moving out." And I went, "Okay, well, are you sure? Is your partner going to help you?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, no. I make this much money already. I'm streamlined to get more money. I'm on a fast track to get a raise." I'm just like, "Well, okay, well, good luck, son, and let me know where you are, and so I can go visit you." "Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I communicated with you that I'm leaving, but thank you for everything." Whoa. I was blown away, man. I got kicked out when I was 18.
Exactly, brother. Like, dude, the evolution, and that's what I'm saying, man. To me, like, a lot of times you gotta see where we came from to realize, the movement that we've made where we are, and like, I just, dude, you know what I mean? Like,
And shout out to my ex partner, Jenny. Jenny had a huge part. She had a hard time with it. And then I go, "Jenny, you got to remember, you're not kicking him out. He's not yelling at you going, 'I'm out of here. Fuck your fucking rules and laws.' He said, 'Mom, I'm ready. I have my own job. I'm going to get a raise. I like where I picked my own apartment. Thank you. Thank you for everything.'" We expand the tribe that way. All me and my ex-partner did was love that child. And it doesn't stop. The answers are right in front of us. There is a large part of Vancouver that is bad, but there's a big part that isn't. And that's due to nature and the people that are there,
the native part.
yeah, the caretakers of the land.
Right, the natives. I mean, man, what a beautiful experience we had. 'Cause I think you can go to Vancouver, but you're not going to get what we got. It's just very interesting. Like, just also to the way they welcomed us, man. And I remember the homie Mizzy's dad Sundance. Oh my goodness, this man cooked up, whew, like just he cooked his heart, man, and it just the way a native comes with their heart is so beautiful, and I just think all those guys were just so, like I said, I was telling Ruben, I usually don't get around this many guys and somebody's not, it's like, damn, these guys are just, they're on something different. But then you start talking to them, these homies known each other for a while. They ain't just, and it's like, wow, okay. And then just interesting how men, we can be respectful and have good relations. And when we do that, we build a good camaraderie, because we're not trying to prove anything. We're actually just building our kinship, because we as protectors, it's good to know who's got your back. It's good to know who's, because we're not looking for trouble when trouble pops off, because those are the things that we just already understood, and so just really felt safe, and like, just like the homie that just like the Uncle P, how he just took us everywhere that that we'd have never known.
Right. Right. He took us to the Amsterdam Cafe. I told him,
Right. Oh, brother, that was fun. I mean, Ruben, it was just fun. It was just like, I don't know,
yeah.
man. I feel like I should have paid you, bro. For going on that trip. Like, oh man.
No,
And
but
what's Amsterdam Cafe?
it's, oh,
You
man,
gotta tell him. You gotta tell him.
dude, okay. When I was a kid and I was growing up, I was about 15 years old. I was 15 years old. We used to buy High Times magazine. So we used to read the articles inside High Times magazine. There was an article about a cafe, an underground cafe in the Red District in Vancouver that sold cannabis on a menu. Like you would go sit down and they give you a menu. It's like, okay, cool. You could buy coffee. You could buy this. You could buy that. Oh, here's our cannabis menu too. You could buy cannabis and they would bring it to your table. You roll it up. You could smoke there. So Uncle P was taking us around Vancouver, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's the Amsterdam Cafe." And I was like, "What? No way!" Like the answer, yeah, yeah. And then so when you go to the Amsterdam Cafe, it says the longest cannabis smoke lounge in North America, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is like." I remember reading about this and telling my friends, we got to go to Canada. We can't go to, we'll never afford to go to Amsterdam. We go to Canada for sure. And next thing you know, I'm on tour over there with, for the Turtle Island Fest. And then Uncle P points it out and we go.
Well, remember, Ruben, I'm trying to dab, homie. I was like, hey, dude, where can I dab? Yeah, because I've got good.
That's right. And he's like, oh, well, we go over there, the Amsterdam Cafe.
It's like, yeah, you can dab there. I was like, well, dude, let's head on over there. And they had some blueberry diesel. And I was like, dude, I haven't had blueberry diesel. So I was like, good price and such. And so they were able to hit the rig, and I was just like, I was tripping out. But I was really, I was impressed that's like, this is a bucket list thing for you, Ruben. I was
Well,
like,
I mean,
what, really?
it's
Like,
it's referring to what we were talking about earlier, is that like a lot of people chase their dreams, right? But I chased the sun and lived my dream. Eventually, I got there,
right,
and I'll go back there with my childhood friends, the
right,
ones that we sat there and we read this article and we were like, we gotta go there.
right, right.
Maybe under different circumstances because we're all adults now and cannabis is legal. It's not a big deal anymore. But just living that dream, hitting the stage that Dakota Bear put on for Turtle Island Fest was a professional stage. It's huge. 20-foot stage, felt good. Everything went well. Like we represented our East Los Angeles indigenous communities in a good way up there.
And somebody was asking there, do they treat the descendants well? It's a trip up there. They treat us really well. Because if you think about it, man, and it is what it is. But if you're not the colonial there, boy, they're gonna embrace you. Because it's their nature. It's just interesting. Very warm. But I don't know. It's hard to describe it. For us, we were lucky because we were with people that were considering us family. And it was beautiful. They would say, "Oh, you're with Uncle P, and that's cousin Kurt, and that's Uncle." I was like, man, yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean? It just was like, okay. I mean, it was just really. I felt like I was at home, and it just again, dude. Truth be told, a lot of them looked like my cousins. I was like, man, I said, you look like my cousin out there, and they were just. And like the studio time with all those homies was fun, man. I mean, even though just they just I don't know. They were just really just a good group of homies, and just to get to know them and their stories, and people have good stories. If you could sit down and listen, it's real nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful trip. It was tiring because we had to leave so early the next day.
Right, right. That was kind of rough.
Yeah, because the event ended at 12, and we had to be at the airport at 4:30 in the morning.
That was rough, man.
So we need a better rider for our for our.
Why do we need something to think about it? Like, dude, do you want to get up at 4 in the morning?
When Dakota Bear asked me, "Hey, bro, we're doing Turtle, do you want to play?" I was like, "Yes," and I didn't even negotiate really anything. I didn't go like, "Oh, okay, well, I need this." I just fucking said yes.
I just want to be there.
Yeah, I was just like,
that's true though, bro.
yes.
Sometimes you just like, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good because
Because
everything.
I know that somehow, some way, we're fulfilling prophecy with that. Not in an ego way, no, but in a way that our message of unity from the tips of Turtle Island and all the way around is that we're one family. And if we're coming from that far to those northern territories and speaking our heart and speaking our truth in a good way, then, like Daniel says, they treat you like family. There's no, and it's not all flowers and roses, but man, for the most part, it was.
Yeah, but Ruben, I'm looking forward to having them come visit me and trying to just
Oh, yeah.
give them a little bit of the hospitality that they showed me, and it's
Yeah.
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just that's the type of feeling I got from staying with them and being with them, and it's just, I'm excited about Indigenous Peoples Day. Like, oh, well, let you show it, let you come south, come to this part of Turtle Island, and so, um, and I'm sure our people here embrace them because,
Well, they've been here before. I mean, they're the ones that kind of initiated the Indigenous
right,
Peoples
right,
Day.
right.
Dakota Bear, year 1. Year 2, we made it more of a East Los Angeles
Well,
community
he's like a
thing.
prodigal son, Ruben, and the thing is that people like Dakota Bear, he's welcome everywhere on Turtle Island. This is his island as well as it is ours, Everywhere the turtle is, this is our land, and this is where we're from, and so I think, and that's the beauty of it, it's just as we really reclaim our space, it's not because we're already here. We don't have to take it over. Now it's time to defend it.
That was probably the highlight of my trip up there, was to hold up that Ometoshli on that stage and
Yeah, that
announce
was cool.
to the people who we are, where we come from, right? Because they'll
Right.
relate to it or they won't, But it seems like they were very, very impressed, and it seemed like, when I said that I represent the indigenous communities of East Los Angeles, that's what I'm doing. I take it very serious when I represent Malinali, when I represent Plant-Based Aslan, when I represent my own solo career. These are very serious matters to me, and so I try to walk with truth.
Exactly, Ruben, and that's why we don't steal. That's why we don't lie. That's why there's not a bunch of people that we burned that are like, oh, that guy's trying to. No, the thing is, you got to walk your path, and your deeds. You're your actions. You're not your words. And at the same time, we value the word, and that's why podcast is worth so much, because we think before we speak. Remember, if you speak and you speak untruths and you're deceitful, and every time you speak those words, your spirit is lessened. And so, fortunately for us, our spirits are strong, and the natives know. They can tell when your spirit is weak. It's like one of the homies says, "Well, we can tell a wig real easy." It's true. And so, and the thing is, we didn't have to do anything. We just came were ourselves, and they were there for themselves, and we embraced each other. And the beauty of it is that they invited you, brother, and they invited you, and we came, and they made it, fulfilled the invitation in a way that was just the way Turtle Island does it, and so we're just continuing that spiral, the continuation of, embracing our native spirit, because by embracing our native spirit, remember, our existence is resistance.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. So,
Yeah, man. I just feel like this trip was meant to be, dude.
Crazy, Mondo. I swear to God, brother. I
it
mean,
almost like what's next?
I agree. I agree.
Like what's next? And that's going to be Indigenous Peoples Day in East Los Angeles. We're working with the city already. We're doing the things that we need to do on our end to make sure that celebration is an abundant, fruitful gathering,
Right.
where we can do exactly what Dakota Bear did up there with Turtle Island Fest, but in our own way. And it doesn't surprise me that he was the one that kicked it off in the year 1, and then just handed it over to East Los Angeles and go, okay, come on now, keep it going. And I take that serious too. So we're working on October 13th. Quinto Sol's already committed to it. A lot of people from East Los Angeles are committing. DJ Ross Sal, he's an amazing DJ. Plays the best reggae and the best, East LA vibe, and we have to solidify ourselves and all the hard work that we did over the years since the 90s. You know, we put in a lot of work. A lot of people went to ceremonies. A lot of people went to learn from the abuelos of Mexico. And now we're starting to become our own tribe. And when I go out to other countries internationally and represent us, I like I said, I do it in a serious manner. Try to come with the people that know what they're talking about, you know, because in case I can't explain it, there's another individual that's just as capable as explaining what we're there to do. And that's to share the truth of our ancestries, the math, the science, the art, and the spirituality. That's bottom line when we go and we represent the indigenous communities, at least for me, the indigenous communities of East Los Angeles that go and patronize Malinali Superfoods and go and enjoy their monthly visits on plant-based Aslan. And then, you know, when we come here to the podcast, you know, and you know, powered by Underground Hip Hop Blog, it allows us to have a voice that, you know, crosses oceans sometimes. This time it crossed over to Canada.
Right. It's interesting you say that too, Ruben, about the food, because I also think that like that our diet helped us get through, man. It's just kind of like it's kind of rough when you're traveling, you know, and it's I kind of feel like your powders and just the way we ate kind of light really helped us get through, you know. But I just think, I
Well,
look at
we're on a hunting mission. This isn't like a vacation. Like I got to still stay disciplined. I still had to do my push-ups. I still had
that's
to.
what I'm saying. Yeah, and Beto doing all those push-ups got me all intimidated, man. I was like, oh shit, no, I gotta do push-ups.
We got to keep up. And I
Yeah,
was
we gotta get it. It's funny, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're just like a bunch of little kids, you know, and it's just funny. A bunch of 50-year-olds are, acting like a bunch of little kids. But I mean, but that's us, you know. And it was, that's to say, man. I think that as long as you're grateful, more things will come, you know. And I think
Yeah.
it's, but again, too, like I say, man, that story about Charlotte, that really meant a lot to me. Man, I love that kid, man, and just seeing how your kids are evolving, Ruben. And it's like, if you just follow the path, man, you give them patience. You're one person that you were never like overbearing with your kids, man. You were always just very solemn, very calm, you know. And I think that, yeah, and you got a lot to be proud of, man. Your kids are And I have to say too, man, I was really enjoying, Techbot and Flowers, man. I think it's just, just stay the course, brother. Like your kids are on the way. And truth be told, too, Jenny did a real good job raising the kids, So
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. There's never going to be no negative talk about that. You know, we still love those children very much, and all respects to that energy that created them. You know, that's never going to break. But it was an amazing time up there. And so, you want to give their last shout outs, Daniel, to
Well, I was
to
gonna say,
people.
I mean, I think I try to tell, names to all the people. I'm trying to think of, but just Uncle P, and then Dakota,
AC,
yeah, just all the people that,
Ism,
yeah, this is the guy. That guy gave us the best. That guy, I swear to God, the best veggie sandwich I ever had in my life.
that was pretty
And,
bomb.
things like that, where they're just looking out for you, man. I was gonna, and things when I don't know, man. When somebody looks out, you does something little that really goes a long way. It's just, man. Like I said, I remember thinking, man, this kid was like 15, 16. This guy's like double his age, man. But when you're conscious and you're on something, it's So but look them up on YouTube, man. The Landback Crew with Dakota Bear. I was yeah, this is a good show, man. It was yeah. But thanks for everything, man. It was just a very I'm just tripping if they're getting more stuff like this, boy. I can't even,
Well, we're just beginning, man.
I
The
know. I just
message
excited.
that
So obviously the white people out here have something to learn with the people out there, dog. I just that whole sympathy shit, like there's nothing like that in the US.
oh no.
Hey,
Hell
but bro,
no.
but they're
Tell me
peaceful.
that.
Like, and the thing is, Mondo, it creates such a nice environment, bro. And like, think how the opposite creates like this fucked up, vibes. Where this is like, people are cool, man. It's like it should always be like that. It's kind of weird. It's not.
But like I said, the area we were in, has a lot to do with it. Those
Yeah.
lands are sacred. Wherever they wanted to do, wherever they decided to build their homes and their $1 million homes, and their waterfront properties, and those are very sacred lands. And you can feel it when you go to Vancouver. You can feel that energy, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. And it was a positive experience, and I would love to go back there soon. It seems like we're getting momentum, and maybe even if it isn't Vancouver, it's maybe somewhere deeper into the territories of Turtle Island. We have a message that resonates with everyone. That message is that we're one family and that we can learn from each other. We can learn that those natives up there aren't about the sun, they're about the water.
Interesting.
They're about the water. Like, I didn't see no sun symbols up there. There were just more water, animals, those type
True.
of energies.
True. I didn't pick up on that, Ruben, but you're right, man. It's
They're about
very
the water up there. So I'm learning something because I come from the lands of the sun.
right.
You
But
know?
Ruben, I liked what they said, and they said this constantly. We've been here thousands of years. They multiple times they said that. We've been here thousands of years. And it's like, damn.
We have.
No,
We
but I
have.
mean, like, they're saying it, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, it's like you can't deny, you can't argue that, you know?
We have been here for thousands of years, and we've been communicating for thousands of years, and it just felt like we were the ones to go to those territories with this message. Think about it, Dan. The Mexicanos that came up to us after my performance was like, nothing happens for us up here.
That's fucked up, huh?
It's just the beginning, brother. I
But
mean,
you know what makes me feel good? That they're up there trying to work,
Yeah, absolutely.
trabajando,
Yeah, and
right? Like, and they,
and it
they
works
saw
for them,
you. They're
brother.
like, yo, like,
No,
Yeah.
but it works for them, and they're happy. It works for them, and they're happy, And the thing is, it's just a matter of time before the culture is going to blossom because enough Mexicanos work, and it's a good situation with them because they like workers and they get paid well. So I mean,
right.
yeah,
So, I mean, it was an honor to have that type of message be spread out to that amount of people. I'm sure that there's been other groups that have gone before us, but we're adding to that. We're adding to that energy of that. Turtle Island is a very big place. It has lots and lots of tribes, lots and lots of cultures, lots and lots of stories, lots and lots of animals. But I did notice that over there, it's about the water and the animals.
that's true, Ruben. It's so true.
And that's
That's
okay. That's
interesting.
cool, man. I'm learning more. Maybe need to learn more about those spirit animals because they have that connection, And just like they trip out about what we know about the sun and
Right,
how the math works, and
right.
they're like super mesmerized by that.
And then remember the teepee and the P in our words, like that we have the same root words.
Exactly. So, I mean, that goes to show that our communications have, traveled far because Nahuatl is based on the sounds of nature and math.
Right,
The
Ruben.
number system and then nature is what makes our language. So that language is universal when it goes into other territories.
Right. Especially with the
Similar,
continent. Right.
similar to that. But it was an amazing experience, and I can't wait to go back and continue to spread the message of love, peace, math, science, art, spirituality, the foundations of our communications, our relationship with our Mother Earth and our Father Sky,
Right.
how we all fit in together, how we're all one big family, and that we got lifetimes and lifetimes to repair that misunderstanding that Europeans came with.
Right.
They came and they tried to muck up the water, but yeah, the ocean knows how to clean itself. The river knows how to
Yes.
clean
Yes.
itself.
Yes.
We don't need to defend the land. We're joining the defense of the land.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're joining Mother Earth because she's the powerful movement that we need.
And
If
we
we-
are the law of the land. We are the
Exactly.
living law of the land.
Absolutely. So, I mean, just think about the power. Like we always say, oh, Mother Earth, and we're damaging Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is in trouble. And yes, she is. Where we live, it's all fucked up. And if we don't but we don't have the power to control something that controls us and gives us things, right? Here's the example. This is how powerful she is. Let her shake for 1 minute straight, as hard as she wants to, and you'll see everything disintegrate. That's how powerful this earth is. That's far more powerful than any nuclear bomb I've ever heard of. So her power lives within. Her messengers are the trees.
Yeah.
And I felt that energy going up on this trip. I felt and learned a lot. I learned that our message still resonates in other territories, that our message was received. Because when we went back to those territories, metaphorically, the pole was gone.
So they took the tobacco.
It seems to me like
Tobacco.
that native community is more on the forefront. Like they're more outspoken
Yeah.
compared to the natives out here in the U.S.
Well, I mean, everyone has their own style,
They're
but
better planned. Their planning is better. They're just better put together. Their family.
they also
their
get a lot of
plans.
grant money.
Yeah.
There's a different system of distribution of finance, so they're able to do art things and do, at least in Vancouver.
Right.
But to get back to the trip, it was amazing to hear that story
Right.
and to feel like they took that stick and they took that tobacco and they allowed us to share our message with them. Whatever that message was, it was respected, honored, and received. And then with hopes that we would go back.
Well, Ruben, like you always said too, communication isn't always verbal, and like the vibe that we got there was so nonverbal, but at the same time it was just like it's the welcoming of like just coming home. And I just thought it was amazing how they kind of went out of their way to bring us into circles where we were exposed to things that other artists really weren't part of.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so,
Well, I think we had the maturity to kind of digest it and share it with others. I mean, that's what we did today. We shared that message from that strong elder, that auntie. She has a strong voice.
man, she was just amazing, man.
Everybody in the LA Natives community, please repeat her story. Just even if you just repeat that part.
Right. Remember, Ruben, we never ceded or surrendered anything. She said that too.
She said that very,
Yeah, strong.
very confidently, very calmly. Like you may have stolen our children and indoctrinated them, but we never said we give up.
Right. We've never given up.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
We never said, okay, we're going to follow your way. No, we were forced to follow that way. That's why she said it very clearly. Okay, I'm going to try to, explain myself in English, explain myself with your terms of activist, right? This lady was responsible for Idle No More. Look it up. Look up that movement, Idle No More. This lady was the foundation of that. And, I don't want to be a bummer, and I don't want to seem like, Daniel always gives me a hard time about this, but I went up to her, man, and I told her something I'm going to get emotional because it's true, and we need to face this truth. I told her, I don't mind following a matriarchal system, but I need to figure out a way to get past the hurt that women has done to me. I didn't come from women that were like that. That's not good or bad, it is. But I was able to meet someone who wasn't. Help me adjust how I felt. I love women. I know one day we'll get back there and have that matriarchal system lead us again. was very proud to go up there and share that message with those people and learn the things that I did from that auntie. It's going to resonate with me for a while, and I can't wait to put it into my art. Make the connection stronger between all people across Turtle Island. Heal. She made us heal. That what I heard from that auntie, well, she's like, you need to heal the people at your dinner table. You need to protest against them and their colonial ways. Then when you heal your own dinner table, we can go outside and we can start healing others. But look at the settler or the colonial person inside of you. And that's what I've always said on this podcast. We need to challenge their ways, their religion, their education, their diet, their spirituality. That needs to be erased as best as we can from the core of who we are. Then stand in our own right like she does. And if we don't want to take the tobacco, let's not take the tobacco anymore. You have to walk with honor and truth to get into our territories. Metaphorically speaking, I'm talking about your heart and your mind. We'll get back there one day. I know it. It's a long road. 100 years from now, we'll see that place. It's children's children will start to communicate like they have the boundaries, have the tobacco pole, the knick-knick.
Yeah, I was at the connected. Hey, but Ruben, let me make a correction. I'm pretty sure the woman's name was Sylvia McAdam. I don't
No,
think-
Sylvia.
And so I just said, don't disrespect her, but man, just
Auntie Sylvia.
I think Teo Teposhkali posted it. So thank you for posting that, man. I just
Thank you.
don't want to get that. Just just moved. But you didn't share that. But man, that's Ruben. This is a powerful. We're evolving. As men, we can only do so much. And so, but as long as we do our best, because sometimes just you do your best.
And it's dope that Dakota's like linked up with her,
Yeah, she's
That's his cousin.
Yeah, that woman is a powerful woman. I don't know more. Look up that movement.
But they're all familia, Armando. That's what kind of tripped me out. He's that's Uncle Liz. That's I was like, oh damn, it comes from it's a strong clan.
Yeah,
And it just felt blessed to be part of that. It's just amazing.
absolutely, 100%. So I hope this podcast was powerful. This thought, I'm not hoping that it was powerful. I know it was powerful because we had that auntie speak on it. I recorded it and we shared that powerful message that she has. And then those that have difficult roads with having that matriarchy lead or that woman have a voice at least, that was a long road for me. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's the way I always was, because most of the pain that was inflicted on me was from them. But that auntie got me to a new place, a better place, a place where a story about women wanting to end war by having to give one of their child to the enemy tribe. And then that enemy tribe doing the same because the women said, enough killing. It's unacceptable. Enough killing, it's unacceptable. We'll see you next week. La Sucamatli Umeteo.